Hi friends, it's Jenny Phillips at jenniferlphillips.com. I am here today with a drive-by video to talk to you about the importance of trust in the work that we do, whether that work is in an office, in our homes, or in our communities. So the thing that got me thinking about this is a theme that I have noticed recently in a couple of different places, both in a business context and in a social justice context. And it's an interesting phenomenon where a group of people who have a high degree of respect for one another, which of course is a good thing, it's a baseline starting point for the work we do together. But the phenomenon I've noticed is that a high degree of respect can create some tension around collaboration. And that is because a lot of times people who want to be kind to one another, who want to treat one another gently and with respect in every interaction that they have a difficult time addressing conflict, and they have a difficult time disagreeing. And when you think about the most interesting and important work that we're doing, it is often fraught with disagreement. It is creatively messy, and people have differing points of view in terms of what a good product or final outcome looks like. It is also sometimes morally or ethically complicated, and people have two very well-intentioned people, two people of conscience, can have very different opinions about the right course of action to take in a very complicated situation, even when they are clear and in agreement on the most important aspects of the challenge. And it also can be messy in terms of execution. So you may agree on what's right to do, you may agree on what creative outcome you're going for, but how to get there, the actual process of executing to those ends, is often fraught with disagreement. So my point in describing all of this disagreement is to say that very respectful environments can sometimes be difficult places to disagree, especially if you're collaborating with folks you've recently met or folks whom you have some important difference between you that you want to try to be respectful of. I've seen this in racial justice work recently, and I appreciate that tension because it's evidence that folks are trying to hear what other people are saying and not step on people's toes. And at the same time, it's important to find a way into collaboration, work together, creative solutions that are, groundbreaking and will make the changes that we want to create in our environments, communities, and workplaces. So how do you get past this? Because this is a very real tension, and certainly the answer is not to decrease the respect with which you are treating one another. That is a baseline. It has to come first. But what I would recommend to anyone who's struggling with this in any context is to think through what you can do to build trust in those situations. So I'm talking about a few different kinds of trust. I mean, one of them is the baseline trust that you will be treated with respect and that you will treat others with respect. And that's something that hopefully each of you is out there creating and generating trust around on a daily basis and in really all of your interactions with folks. The second level of trust is a trust that you will do what you say you will do. If you agree to a deadline, if you promise to bring something to a meeting, if you promise to show up in a certain way, you actually will do that. You will do it when you said you would do it. You will do it as well as you said you would try to do it, and you will do that every time. So that is another way to build trust, just through the ongoing integrity of doing what you say that you're going to do. And then a third aspect of trust, as I see it, is to generate trust around your moral courage. And this is probably the hardest one, and it is becoming very, very clear to me right now. And at a time in my city where we're experiencing racial strife and people are leaning on each other in different ways and collaborating in different ways and needing to come together and trust one another with very high stakes. And so what I'm talking about, and when I say trust in your moral courage, is that you need to be able to trust your peers, your colleagues, whomever you're working with in whatever context, your family members, and they need to be able to trust you when to understand what the core right and wrong of a situation are, and then to have the courage to see through what needs to be done. And you also need to be able to trust one another to understand how difficult that is, and that we are all on a process of growing into the moral courage that we need, and that, in my opinion, our moment in history calls for. So, I certainly am not as far along on that curve as I would like. I'm speaking to you from a place of introspection as well as observation of things that are happening in the communities that I'm a part of, and also through my coaching work and the workplaces that I have been able to learn more about and become exposed to what their dynamics are. So I hope that's helpful for you. Again, I'm talking about the core problem of matching a deep foundation of respect with a creatively and strategically productive outcome, and knowing that if you want to do anything meaningful, you are probably going to have to at some point inhabit a period and a mental space that is uncomfortable for you. Discomfort is part of creative process, whether that's creating change in communities, artistic creativity, or professional creativity in your workplace, in your work setting. So knowing how to navigate that while holding on to the respect you have for the folks you work for, and at the same time building trust so that all of the difficulties of that process have a space to be aired, is paramount if you really want to get the work done and create the meaning that I know probably most of you, hopefully all of you watching this video, are intending to make. So that is your reflection for the day. I hope it's helpful in your work, and I would love to hear what you think about it. Have a great day. Take care.